all right. So this is probably going to be the realest video I've ever made till now, okay? And this video hopefully is going to change your perspective on a lot of things, okay? Some of the things I'm going to discuss are things that took me years to figure out, and I wish I had a mentor or someone to talk to me about some of these things, which would have saved me a lot of time, okay? So, in short, I'm going to be talking about limiting beliefs and basically how you can change your mindset to change other aspects in your life. For myself, I noticed there are some critical limiting beliefs that whether you are trying to advance in your career or you're trying to build a project or you're trying to start a business, there's common limiting beliefs that until you change your mindset, you're always going to feel like you're not progressing or you're not in the place that you want to be in life. And I personally struggled with all of these limiting beliefs. Okay, so when I talk to you, I'm talking to you from experience. Okay, so the first limiting belief I want to talk about is imposter syndrome. I'm sure a lot of us have experienced it. Basically, imposter syndrome is when you're in a place where you don't belong, or you're in a place where you're not qualified to be in that place. And for me, this typically used to happen whenever I get some type of a new job. And even though on resume I'm qualified for the position, once I'm in it, I start to realize that, oh, there's a lot more to this. So this is a natural part of life. It's not something that you can just switch off and you'll be like, oh, today I'm not going to be an imposter. That's not how it works, okay? The best way to address this is to change your beliefs. Or instead of associating this whole imposter syndrome with something negative, you start to associate it with something positive instead, okay? So instead of saying, oh, yeah, I don't think I'm right for this job, or I don't think I'm qualified for this, start thinking to yourself, if you go through your whole entire year without feeling a little bit like an imposter in something that you're doing, then that means you're not growing, or you're not growing fast enough. Anytime you feel that sense of imposter syndrome, it's actually a positive thing, because it means that you are stepping out of your comfort zone and you are growing as a person in life, okay? So stop associating imposter syndrome with something negative and start associating it with something positive. So just to give you another example of feeling like an imposter, a personal experience of mine, when I got into the app development business and I was developing different apps, I came to the realization that the market that I'm in, almost every company out there was consisted of a team of people. Like, I wasn't just like a solo developer trying to do something. But here I was just stepping in as a solo developer without a team behind me. And so I remember something as simple as when I was trying to write or respond to reviews, instead of saying, oh, I am grateful for your feedback, or thank you for blah, blah, blah. I used to always try to make it seem like I had a bigger team behind me, okay? Instead, I'll be saying things like, oh, we appreciate your review, we appreciate your 5-star review, oh, we'll work on it, oh, we, instead of I, okay? That seems like a very small thing, but in the grand scheme of things, when I look back at it, it makes me realize that in some sense, I felt like an imposter, or that I'm stepping into an industry where unless I have a team behind me, I don't belong. But then I quickly switched my mindset to think, okay, well, right now, if I feel like I don't belong, that means I'm actually stepping into something that I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. Okay, I'm actually experiencing growth, and this feeling of, oh, I don't belong is just going to be temporary. And if you approach life with that mindset, imposter syndrome will be a thing of a past for you. Okay, so the second limiting belief, or the second thing that really prevents you from achieving your goals, is the fear of failure. Okay, everyone has experienced this at some point in their life. Usually, the reason why we have this fear of failure is because we think if we fail at something, it's a reflection of ourselves personally. Like we ourselves are a failure. Okay. But really and truly, anyone that has become super successful has probably experienced so much failure. Okay. Some of the biggest names that you hear, either Elon Musk or the Amazon guy, Jeff Bezos, have any idea how many times they failed before some of these things that they were experimenting with took off? It's ridiculous if you actually read their autobiographies. Okay. The funny thing in life is that people tend to forget your failures and only remember your successes. Keep that in mind. People tend to forget your failures and only remember your successes. I myself, I've experimented with so many different business ideas. The majority of them was just a complete waste of time. I failed miserably at those ventures. And I'm sure if you are entrepreneurial minded, you've probably experienced this yourself too. You've tried so many different things. But if you let the fear of failure hold you back, you probably would never ever experience any level of success. Okay. The way I think about it is you're always going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Let that sink in. You will always miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So whenever that fear of failure sets in, or you start being scared of, oh, what would this person think if I fail, or what is the world going to think about my worth if I just keep failing at everything that I try, just keep in mind that if you don't try, you'll never succeed. And if you succeed at least once, people will probably not even remember all the failures that you've had in the past. And another thing I wanted to mention is sometimes we let the fear of embarrassment hold us back. Okay. So, for example, for me, I was trying to open a Discord community. Just in case you don't know, I created a platform where I teach people to become software engineers. It's called Easy Coder. It's an app. You can download it on the App Store. There's so many different courses, and it's gained some traction. It's currently a little bit over 500,000 users or students who use that platform. Okay. So I kept getting requests from these students to create some type of a Discord, okay, so that they can just have a chat or interact with each other. And in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, what if I create this Discord and just one or two people join, okay? It might be a little bit embarrassing, okay? And that's something that was holding me back, because I knew that the first few, like the first 10 or 20 users of that Discord may probably start thinking, oh, well, there's only 5 to 10 people here. I guess this is not as popping as I thought it would be. And maybe they might just leave and it might hurt the brand. I just had all these thoughts in my head. But then I thought to myself, well, some of these students themselves are offering to create the Discord themselves and become moderators. So why not just have them create it? To be honest, if it goes nowhere, at least I tried. But I'll never know how successful it'll be unless I take that risk or take that shot. Okay. So I'm just giving you a personal example just so that you can understand that everyone experiences fear of failure, but sometimes you just have to take your shot. You're going to miss that shot regardless if you don't take it. So another thing that tends to really hold you back or really hinder your progress is the idea of perfectionism, trying to make sure everything is perfect before you proceed. So, for example, for me, when I started building apps, I always try to make sure everything works 100% perfect. The features are all in there. There are no bugs before I launch. And if you know anything about business, you know that sometimes speed is greater than being perfect. There's something called the first to market advantage or something like that. The earlier you get to the market, the better advantage you have because people will be more used to you than the newer people that are coming into the market. And trying to be perfect doesn't even help you in the long run because sometimes you just need to put your idea out there, get the minimum viable product, meaning the basics out there, and based on the feedback that you receive from the general population, you can then improve on what you need to improve. If you try to make everything perfect, you might just be making something that no one even wants. If you have an idea and you want to test it out, in this day and age, things are so fast moving that you just need to put it out there and then let the audience or let your customers or let your fans or followers or whatever industry you're in, let the people that you deal with provide that feedback to you instead of you trying to make things 100% perfect. Okay. So, yeah, whenever you feel the need to make things perfect before you proceed, just keep in mind that you're missing a whole lot of opportunities the longer you take to try to make things 100% perfect. Okay, so the next one is it's kind of a big one because I see it happening all the time. I understand why people think that way, but in reality, it hinders your progress more than anything. Okay, and this is the scarcity mindset. When I say scarcity mindset, it basically means that you think everything is a limited resource and that if one person wins here, then that means someone somewhere has failed. Okay. For example, the way you see life would be, oh, if so and so gets $1 million, that means that $1 million was lost from this other individual. Just to put things in perspective, there are billions of people in this world. There are millions of different niches, and there's an abundance of money in this world. You have to start thinking from an abundance mindset. And when you see a friend elevating in life or making some progress in life, don't automatically start thinking, oh, well, if you're getting ahead, then that means I'm falling behind, or by them winning, that means you're losing. That is literally the definition of a hater. And you'll notice that usually anyone who's a hater has that scarcity mindset. They don't have the abundance mindset. Anyways, long story short, try to eliminate any type of scarcity mindset that you have. And when you see someone succeeding at something, just let that motivate you. You can even go and ask the person to coach you or mentor you instead of becoming overly jealous of the person's success and just thinking negatively about the person, because that would only slow down your progress. Okay, so the other issue that I have personally struggled with is the limited belief of charging what you're worth. Sometimes it's hard for us to see the value that we ourselves provide to the world. And we tend to be scared to ask for what's your worth, okay? Whether you're trying to negotiate your job salary or you're trying to sell some type of product, people just tend to either be scared to charge what they're worth or undervalue themselves and end up charging much less than what they're worth. At one point, I was trying to make some money with the apps that I was developing, and I started to put ads in the app. And my mindset was, you know what? When I put ads in the app, I'm going to start annoying a whole bunch of users, and they're going to start uninstalling my app. But logically, the way I should have thought about it was, in order for this app to be sustainable, okay, because a lot of time and resources goes into developing apps. In order for it to be sustainable, it needs to generate some type of consistent revenue. I was just worried that I would start losing users, and I didn't want people to start thinking of me as a greedy person. So that held me back for quite some time. I remember even after I put ads in my app, the next logical step was to start charging for some premium products or some in-app purchases, basically. It got to a point where unless I started to charge for these in-app purchases, it wouldn't be sustainable. Like, I would have to just discontinue the app because in terms of the services that I have to pay for, I'm losing more money than I'm making. So I remember I was reading this book. In there, it said something about, oh, when you're charging something, use different pricing tiers, three different pricing tiers actually. The first one is the lowest you're willing to accept, basically. The second is your target price that you want people to pay for your product. And then the third is double that optimal price, okay? So basically for like a premium version of whatever you're offering. So in my mind, I was thinking, gosh, when I start charging money, everyone's going to start thinking about me as like a greedy guy, and I'm going to start losing some of my users, or I'm going to see my downloads plummet, and it's going to become a dead app anyway. But in my mind, I was thinking, what is there to lose? Regardless, I'm losing money on this app. So I tried that out, and to my surprise, I didn't lose any users. And the funny thing too is that the top item, the one that was supposed to be double the price, was also selling. But then I was confused because to me, that top premium, whatever item, was supposed to serve more as an anchor to make the middle item seem more pleasing. Okay. So when that top item started selling, it became such a mind shift for me because in my mind, I never really imagined people paying that amount, which was double what I was charging. I keep thinking to myself, I've left so much money on the table by undervaluing the worth of whatever I'm selling. And keep in mind that regardless of whatever you're selling, whether it's your skill set to a company, like you're negotiating your salary, or whether you're actually selling physical products or digital products, it all comes down to the value that you're providing to the buyer. And one buyer might not need your services that badly, but another buyer might need your services, and they might see your services as the thing that addresses their needs or their pain points, and they're willing to put any amount of money towards it. Okay. So keep that in mind. Don't undervalue your services. There's someone out there that is more than willing to pay you your worth. Don't let this limiting belief of, oh, I can't charge what I'm worth, hold you back. By the way, if you enjoy this format of content, or if you believe I've provided some type of value to you in any way, or I've said something that's motivated you or has given you some type of a mindset shift, I want you to just like this video just so that I know I'm reaching someone somewhere out there. Okay. So just go ahead, take a moment, like this video. I want you to only like the video if you honestly feel like you've gotten some value from it. And perhaps if I get enough likes, I might do a part two, or I might make content that is similar to this. Okay, so the other limiting belief that I believe affects a lot of people or hinders the progress that a lot of people could potentially make is this whole isolation belief, okay? Believing that, I can do this by myself. It's probably better that I do things myself because only I can do it perfectly the way I want it to be. If I give it to someone else, they are probably going to do a shitty job at whatever they're doing and it's going to waste time. So why not just, I handle everything by myself. Okay. And I understand if you don't have the money to hire someone at the moment, but use your money to buy back your time. Meaning that if there's something that is repetitive that that someone else can be doing, even though they might not do it 100%, just hand it over to someone else to do it. Okay. Because the amount of time that you spend doing that thing, that is time that you could be spending on doing something else. You have to look at it from that perspective. So even if the person is doing it at only 80% perfect, but they're able to constantly produce results and only focus on that thing and just constantly, produce things at speed, it's much better than you spending a lot of time just to get something 100% perfect, missing other opportunities because you spend so much time trying to perfect something. Like for me personally, I remember when I was making my first few YouTube videos, I could have someone create my thumbnails, but like why pay someone to create my thumbnails when I can quickly put something together in Photoshop myself? At least I would know how I want the look of the video or the thumbnail to look like, but the other person can't 100% understand how I want the thumbnail to look like. So I'm going to have to explain things in detail and it's just a headache. But then I came to the realization that if I keep making my own thumbnails over and over again, it's time that I'm taking away from probably improving some other thing. It could be the actual video content itself. And of course, when I hire someone initially, it's going to take, things are going to get worse before it gets better. Okay, because you have to train the person. But eventually, once the person understands what you need, you'll be surprised how quickly your thing that you're doing is going to improve because now you have time to look at more critical things. It's been a while since I haven't created my own YouTube thumbnails. They probably do it much better than I would have probably ever done it. But if I had that limiting belief that, I want to do things by myself, I wouldn't have been able to come this far. There's a saying that says that if you want to go fast, you can go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you need to go with others. So as you grow in whatever you're doing, try to collaborate with others, and that will help you go even further. Okay, so I don't want this video to be too long of a video, so I'm going to talk about one more limiting belief. And this is another big one, okay? This is the limiting belief that prevents you from putting yourself out there because you have that fear of criticism. Just keep in mind that anyone doing anything that is influencing a lot of people, regardless of whether you're Mother Teresa or Donald Trump or whatever person you are, you're going to be criticized. It's just the nature of what happens when you put yourself out there. So you shouldn't let that hold you back. I remember when I first started developing courses, wanted to avoid putting myself out there entirely. So my courses were kind of boring because it was like a PDF, it was just a book that you read. It didn't really have that much personality behind it. But I just wanted to play things safe because in my mind, I know I probably didn't consciously think about this, but subconsciously I was probably thinking, but what if whoever I'm trying to reach doesn't really understand me fully, or they can't relate with me as a person, or my accent might be different from theirs, or me even being a black person, what if I don't really relate that well with white women or whatever? Initially, I just was playing things safe. But eventually, I was just thinking to myself, instead of doing a boring text-based course, why not add my voice to it? Okay. So I do some screen sharing where I'm doing some voiceover instruction, something that is more dynamic. And to my surprise, people gave me more compliments than anything. To this day, I can't remember any negative feedback that I've received regarding my voice. As a matter of fact, it's all been positive. Either people are saying, oh, you have such a deep, soothing voice, or oh, your voice is such a great voice for a teacher. The fact that I put my voice out there even made my user base grow much more than I originally anticipated. So then it got to a point where I'm like, okay, so maybe I should also put my face out there. So far, my courses were based on just doing some screen sharing with my voiceover. Initially, I was a little bit hesitant, but eventually I just decided to lean into my authentic self. It got to a point where even my videos, the background music for all my videos were just Afro beats. I found that my user base actually became even more, okay? And they were even more loyal than the ones that I had before. Some of the comments I received were things like, oh, you really inspired me. I'm happy to see a black person like myself doing what you do. And even surprisingly, a lot of the people that I didn't think were going to be my demographic of people were reaching out to me. For example, Russia and Germany were, I think, the fourth or fifth position in terms of my user base. And sometimes I wonder if I never actually put myself out there, I wouldn't have made these connections that I've made. I know some people in Sweden right now, and of course, my African brothers from Nigeria, Ghana, even the Philippines. Those people show me a lot of love. The point I'm trying to make here is the fear of putting yourself out there because you're scared of being criticized is actually going to be holding you back. Because nowadays, even big companies and brands are trying to put a face to each brand. They're trying to hire some brand ambassadors because they know the importance of having that face to face interaction. Okay. So, regardless of who you are, don't try to limit yourself or limit your personality in front of others. Because the more you lean into your authentic self or you lean into your authentic personality, you'll be surprised that the more relatable you become. Anyways, I'm going to end this here. If you feel like this video has been valuable to you, please leave a like. If not, you also don't need to leave a like. It just makes me happy to know that I've provided some value, I've had some positive impact on someone somewhere. If I get enough likes, I'll probably release some more content like this. All right, see you in the next video.